Alright, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So we're going to get caught up with some more Shonen Jump stuff today. There is a heat wave going on here, so it's a little bit stifling in the office today. Because I don't want to have a fan running, kind of have like noise and all that from that drowning out my voice. We're just going to record some Shonen Jump stuff today. Then tomorrow I'll try to get some read-throughs out for the channel. If I don't manage to do that, I'll get back to them next week when hopefully the weather cools down a little bit. In the meantime, there's still a lot of good stuff coming your way, so if you haven't already, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Without further ado, let's dive into it with Akane-Banashi story 171, The Art of the Exterior. So we pick up with story by Yuki Tsunaga, art by Takamasa Moe, with Rakugo supervision by Kikuhiko Hayashiya, translation by Stephen Paul, and lettering by Asneeron. So we pick up with like a little lesson, I assume, or if we pick up with the fucking Karashi story, with where he goes, when you take the character and embody the mindset of the role, your gestures and speech will change to fit it. And you see the character in the story is kind of scratching his head, and the performer also just like scratching their head. It's like the root of what comes from within you is what we call outlook. Now, little ant, and this is Karashi getting a letter from, or sorry, lesson from, was it Insho? It's like the outlook of the fox. Do you understand it? And Karashi just kind of glances sideways and closes his eyes and goes, I don't. You can understand a person's thoughts and actions from the text of the story. But a fox is an animal. You cannot fathom an animal's feelings. It's like, so why'd you ask? It's like, I just thought it was adorable how hard you thought about it. Even with humans, not animals, one's temperament, way of thinking, morals, and one's individual beliefs can easily interfere and prevent one from grasping the mindset of the character. And you think back to Akane when she's trying to do the Oiran mindset. She's like, I don't understand the mindset of the Oiran at all. So what did you do? So what do you do? And it's like the secret art that is the counterpart of outlook. It's like, you mean look outward? It's like, indeed. The form of Sanmete is, back with the story, it's human nature to be a slave to your whims. Sadakichi took the money from his boss and spent it at the theater, and before him was a packed house with barely enough room to breathe, and every last member of the audience stared intently at the stage with all of their focus. The play was Yoshitsune and the Thousand Cherry Trees, Act 4, at the mansion of Kawatsura Hogen. In this scene, there are two characters on stage. One is the mistress of Minamaru no Yoshitsune, Shizuka Gozen. She picks up her gift from Yoshitsune, the Hatsune drum, and you see Karashi like miming picking up a dumb and just drum and just gently kind of tapping with a pom. Then the character of Sato Shiroboya Tadanobu, played by Intaro Ichimura, exposes his true nature. And you see Karashi just like in the standing thing, just like jumping up into the air as like I think a spear or something is jabbed up from below or something, I don't know. So Lady Shizuka's drum causes Tadanobu's demeanor to change dramatically. This is an actual scene from the Yoshitsune Kabuki play. It's Rakugoized Kabuki. It's common enough in Rakugo that there's a name for this genre, which is Shibai-Banashi or theater stories. It's like, but the skin of the drum came from the fox's parent. As he was drawn closer by the familiar sound of that drum, she narrowed her eyes and, you are not Tadanobu. I see you for what you are, fox spirit. It's like the form of Sanmete is the art of the exterior. And you have sign metaphysical equals Enso Sanmete. For each age, gender, and occupation, there are postures and gestures to represent them physically. What I will teach you is the way to embody each of these roles. It's like female forms, like very drawn in, like hands like folded on their lap. It's like, have no fear. I will not teach you vague esoterica. The fundamentals are right here. What did I tell you? Become me. Eye line, spine curvature, hand placement, grip. You will differentiate each role starting from the way you sit. Even the act of drinking tea has countless variations. You will learn all of my motions until they're second nature. And then, Karashi's like, it's working backward. If outlook is starting from the inside and going out, this is the reverse. You start from the physical side to capture the mental. You have Tadanobu was a transforming fox trying to steal the drum. Shizuka goes in, picked up her sword, and swung it at him to protect the drum. It's like, you shall not have it, Tadanobu! And you see her just like holding away the sleeve of her robe as she slashes down. So because of the emphasis on form, it shares a certain affinity with kabuki theater. Through smooth and practiced motions, one glimpses practiced refinement. The heart within move those who see it. The art of embodiment. Eh, I don't know, man. I guess we'll talk about it at the end, so I'll just quickly flip to the page. Like, again, the art style is very, very good, but I don't know, like, I don't sense. We'll talk about it at the end once we finish this. Did you have an applause break? Did you have a not such a muscle brain that attempt to challenge that Rakugo obsessed fool on skill alone? And Hikaru's like, ha, look who's talking. And his friend outside is like, I'm surprised. For being an original, it sure feels like a classic. If you made it more cynical and modern, you could get a bigger reaction, I think. It's like so shallow. I'm going for the win, obviously. But it's more than just that. The reason I'm doing a false classic now is... I don't know, man. Again, like, we'll talk about the chapter like beginning again. Again, I feel like I've talked about this like multiple times before. I feel like the weakness of Akane-Banashi is it does too much telling and not enough showing. And so you have kind of Enzo Sunma take on to explain what his whole process is. Like, oh, the whole thing is like what we call like outlook, and then the other thing we call it's like outward. And he's like trying to explain his whole philosophy where it's like, oh, you look at a person's gestures, mannerisms, like physicality, the way they carry themselves, and you use that to kind of like build a mental image of like what they're like, etc., etc. And so you get like you have to have the explanation because they have like these stupid esoteric terms for it. You have to have them like explain like what the meaning is behind it, etc., etc. Except I feel like you could also emphasize those same lessons through Karashi kind of like embodying those mannerisms and kind of having like even the audience just kind of mentioning it and talking about it rather than just kind of blurting it out there and kind of like monologuing at us about like this is what we're trying to do, like this is what the lesson is I'm trying to show you. And I think the biggest weakness of that is I don't really, because apart from the thing like where he jumps up into the air from like the seating position, which I think was like a very good like physicality kind of move, I don't really sense the different changes in like posture, mannerisms, things like that, and his facial expressions. I don't think there's enough done to make it look distinctive and different from his normal self. And I feel like that's why they gave him like the much longer hairs to try to like sell that image a lot more of like, oh, he's trying to be present as more feminine now. He's trying to do like these mannerisms and things, but it doesn't really come across and is not really as impactful as I think they expect or want it to be. So a lot of his storytelling and his story so far has fallen very, very flat. Because I like the little affectation, like, she pulls back the sleeve of the robe to make sure it doesn't get like caught when you're doing like the sword swing and stuff. But again, like the story he's telling isn't very compelling, and Karashi was never one of my favorite characters either. So it's a little bit harder for him to sell himself on me with such a mediocre performance. We'll see if it gets any better from here, but I'm honestly not kind of blown away by this. But like I said, we'll see what happens. So all that said, I hope you all did enjoy this video. If you did, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I mentioned, I'll get Shonen Jump stuff out today, and I'll try to get at least one read-through out tomorrow. We'll see what the weather is like and how I'm feeling. But a lot of good stuff is coming your way already. So yeah, until next time, this is Ash. Talk to you all later.